It's Monday, the 9th of February. From the MEN newsroom, this is Channel M's Lunchtime News, and these are today's headlines. A danger to women. Police warn people not to approach a man they want to question after a woman's badly burnt body is found in Salford.
Anybody sighting George Appleton or his car is read for escort to report that matter to the police as quickly as possible.
Also this lunchtime, living in fear, the thousands of victims of domestic abuse being offered help in a new campaign.
I spent years letting this man bully me and make me believe that everything I did was wrong and everything that went wrong was my fault.
And Pyjama Power, the fundraisers taking to the streets in their night clothes.
We'd launched the campaign, as it were, today and get people thinking, well, why are these people in pyjamas?
Good afternoon. First, a danger to women and he should not be approached. That's how police are describing a man they want to question over the murder of a woman in Salford. Claire Wood's badly burnt body was found at her home in Blackfriars, from where Ben Bland reports.
A relative who was coming to visit Claire Wood made the grim discovery of her badly burned body at this house on St Simon Street. The 36-year-old was found in her bed on Friday afternoon, having been set alight. Police, treating this as a murder, are trying to find George Appleton, a 40-year-old who had been in a relationship with her. He's seen here on CCTV taken from a nearby block of flats. Neighbours were reluctant to appear on camera, their community shocked by this brutal murder.
I've heard rumours, I've heard all sorts of stories. I'm just waiting to see myself on the news just to find out exactly what's happened. But other than that, I can't really tell you much. When I just come home from work and so obviously, yeah, I was shocked to see all the police in the street wondering what's happened.
It's understood Claire Woods was fairly new to this area, having moved into this house just about 6 months ago. We also believe she had a young daughter, just 10 or 11 years old, who police tell us is safe and well. As far as George Appleton is concerned, they say he's a dangerous character and they're desperate to track him down.
We believe George Appleton represents a serious threat to women who he knows or who he might come into contact with. We believe that George Appleton has made contact with women through social networking sites such as Facebook and similar. We would strongly urge any woman who has had contact with George Appleton not to maintain that contact and report the fact to the police as quickly as possible. And anybody sighting George Appleton or his car is read for escort to report that matter to the police as quickly as possible.
Meanwhile, floral tributes and messages have been left at the house. Those who knew Claire shocked by her sudden and violent death. Ben Bland, Channel M News.
A hard-hitting campaign to raise awareness of domestic abuse is starting. This TV advert has been produced to show the effect violence can have on families. It'll also be shown on a big screen in Piccadilly. There were more than 68,000 cases last year, which is the equivalent of 186 a day or 7 per hour. This woman, whose face and voice have been changed to protect her identity, has been describing the violence she had to face.
There were really early incidents. I mean, I remember being on our honeymoon even, and he got really drunk, and I hadn't wanted to stay out because I'd been really badly bitten, and he threw an ashtray at the wall. Now, I had no idea that one day he'd be throwing that at me to deliberately injure me. And somehow I managed to put that somewhere and think, OK, that's a really bad thing to do, but it's not directed at me. So whilst I'm not really happy about it, it's probably just because he's drunk, and I managed to find an excuse that wasn't against me, so it was OK. Although I always knew it wasn't OK.
2 teenagers are in hospital after a car crashed into them at a bus stop in Romiley. The 17-year-old boy and 16-year-old girl were waiting on Sandy Lane at about 10:35 last night when a Mazda left the road and hit them. Both suffered injuries to their pelvis. The boy also has 2 broken legs and the girl has other internal injuries. A 21-year-old man's been arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving. The occupants of a house in Duckinfield have had a narrow escape after a car drove into the side of it. Police are now looking for the thief who smashed the stolen Ford Mondeo into the wall of the terraced house on Ashton Road. There were people inside at the time, but they weren't injured. The driver ran away from the scene. The driver seen here driving the wrong way down a motorway has escaped being given a prison sentence. Mark Kirk from Keighley risked his life on the M62 near Rochdale, carrying out 2 handbrake turns after stopping his car on the hard shoulder because of a furious row with his girlfriend. He also beat up a passing patrol officer. He's been banned from driving for 2 years and ordered to pay £1,800 in compensation. There's been big success for Slumdog Millionaire at the BAFTAs. The movie by Radcliffe director Danny Boyle came away with 7 awards, including Best Film, Best Music and Best Director. Well, joining us now to talk a little bit more about this is film expert Steve Backshall from the Salford Film Festival. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming in. First of all, tell us a little bit about the movie. What's it all about?
It's about a young man who is he grows up in, he's what's called a slumdog, i.e. he grows up in the slums, and he works his way up. He gets a job working in a call centre. He's basically the tea-boy in a call centre, and for one reason or another, he manages to get on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Now, he's in love with this girl. He grew up with her in the slums, and she's now married to a gang boss, and he's trying to communicate with her. So he's actually on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to do this. But what actually happens is the film follows his story. Basically, it follows him on the show as he's answering the questions, and it follows his story, and you understand, and as you follow his story, you learn why it is that he knows the answers to these questions, because you know, he's basically acquired them not because he's educated, but because of the life he's had. He's able to answer the questions that he's asked. So it's a nice film. I guess it's a film about virtue rewarded, which is quite rare these days. So that might account for some of its success. I don't know.
Well, we have got a quick clip of the film. Let's just take a look at that now.
Cool.
Javed Khan, the gangster from our slum. You work for him.
Come on. Who else do you think would save us from Mohammad's guys, huh?
What do you do for him?
Anything he asks.
Well, I know it's had a lot of praise heaped upon it. What did you make of it when you actually watched it?
I liked it a lot. I mean, it's very, in a way, it's quite a conventional film, but it does something very interesting, which is it starts off very realistic. It's very, very grounded in sort of the reality of slum life in India. I mean, it's been criticised in some quarters in India for precisely that. So it comes from an Indian social realist tradition, which dates back to, say, Satyajit Ray and more recently Mira Nair's Salaam Bombay, which was a big influence on this film. But as the film progresses, it incorporates elements of, if you like, Bollywood musical stylistically. The gangsters are almost straight out of central casting in a Bollywood movie. The stuff with the girl, she's very much and it becomes a very different kind of a film. So the fantasy element takes over in a very interesting, and it's quite clearly a conscious thing that they've done. They've opted for this stylistic approach. It's very interesting, and yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it was very entertaining. I think people will enjoy watching it because it is just a really charming piece of filmmaking, and it's beautifully put together. It's interesting that the awards it's won are all mostly technical. It won Best Screenplay, yeah. It won Best Director, yeah. Didn't win either of the acting awards, but it won music, sound, editing, cinematography for the great Anthony Dodd Mantle, and I think that's because it's very much about the visual experience of film. It's very much about, it's not about the actors, it's about, although I have to say Dev Patel is terrific in it, he's so good.
Well, we'll have to leave it there, but we'll look forward to seeing if they do manage to get any more awards later on in the year as well. Clearly a lot of success for that film. Thank you very much for your time. It's lunchtime. Australia's Prime Minister has described the number of people killed by raging wildfires there as mass murder. So far, the flames have claimed the lives of 131 people in the state of Victoria. Survivors have described how they fled from walls of flames, with others dying in their cars as they tried to escape. Police think some of them were started on purpose. Tameside police are looking for a man who tried to abduct a schoolgirl 2 weeks ago in Duckinfield. The 11-year-old was walking along Birch Lane opposite the medical centre when she was dragged by a man backwards. She screamed and he then let her go before running off. Supporters of St Anne's Hospice have staged an event in the city centre to kick-start a new push on fundraising. And to grab people's attention, the dozens of people there all turned up in their pyjamas.
Every year, for the last 2 years, we've had the Manchester Midnight Walk, which is a fundraising event for St Anne's. This year, we thought we'd do something different. We'd launched the campaign, as it were, today, and get people thinking, well, why are these people in the pyjamas? And asking the question, what are they doing? So it just raises the profile of the Midnight Walk on June the 12th. St Anne's is an independent charity. We look after people at the end of their lives. Only a fraction of our money comes from the NHS, and the rest has to be made from donations and events like this. Last year, in 2008, we had nearly 2,000 walkers, and we raised £175,000, which in these terrible times of economic downturn is vital to the continued organisation's stability. The walk starts from the Manchester Central, the old GMEX, on June the 12th at midnight, walks to Eastlands, Manchester City, and back round the city. It's 10 kilometres, and all they need is a bit of enthusiasm and a good pair of trainers.
Right, time now to take a look at the lunchtime sports headlines with the details. Here's Mike Bradley.
Thank you, James. And while United may be on course for yet another Premier League title, the race for the Champions League positions remains as keen as ever. Bolton faced a tricky test at Goodison Park against David Moyes' resurgent Everton, who included new signing Joe in their starting lineup. Here's Sam Goodman with your highlights.
It was an impressive debut for the on-loan Manchester City striker Joe, and Andy O'Brien brought the striker down in the 40th minute, allowing Mikel Arteta to convert the penalty. Bolton then struggled to get back into the game, and 4 minutes after the break, a beautiful ball control matched with a stunning turn allowed Joe to score his first goal for Everton. Then in the 90th minute, the referee blew for another penalty after Mark Davis looked to have handled the ball in the area. And up stepped the Brazilian to score his second and to cap off a fantastic Everton debut and to keep Bolton at 14th in the table.
But despite that win, Everton remain outside the top four, as you can see, with Aston Villa now emerging as genuine challengers to Liverpool for the runners-up spot. In the Six Nations, England began their campaign with a whimper, and not the expected bang against Italy sails Mark Cueto, one of the try scorers, in the unconvincing 36-11 win. Once again, here's Sam Goodman with your details.
It was certainly an unconvincing performance from the England side, but the game did start well after only 2 minutes when Andy Goode crossed the line for a try. Then it was Harry Ellis who was next. He produced a good move down the left-hand side, and a low dive gave England a 12-0 lead. But then poor Italian play allowed Andy Goode to kick a long ball through to Ricky Flutie, who outpaced the oncoming defending Italians to give England their third try of the game. Well, the away side managed to secure some points, and it was 13 minutes after the break when a great run from Ricky Flutie found man of the match Harry Ellis, who once again broke free of the Italians and secured his second try of the game. Then, with 3 minutes to go, a superb pass found the Sale Sharks winger Mark Cueto, who secured victory for England in a scoreline which certainly flattered the home side.
And England returned to action on Saturday when they travelled to Cardiff to face tournament favourites Wales. Swinton Park Golf Club's assistant pro Dave Smith, he's celebrating this morning after claiming the PGA Overseas Pro-Am title at Vilamoura in Portugal. He carded 209 to finish one shot ahead of former tour star Paul Eales. Smith now heads to Bahrain later today to take part in the PGA Captain Challenge. Manchester Magic, they're through to yet another trophy final following yesterday's 89-81 win over old foes. The London Leopards club captain Stephen Gill top scoring with 32 points. Wigan Warriors began their Super League campaign with a shock 12-6 home reversal against injury-hit Wakefield. Portsmouth have parted company with manager Tony Adams. Former England boss Peter Moores is the clear favourite to become Lancashire's new first-team coach, while the club have just announced the signing of South African Test batsman Ashwell Prince. And finally, Stockport County are preparing themselves for a takeover bid, led by a consortium fronted by former Managing Director Mark Maguire, who resigned from his position last week. That's it from me for today, but please try and join Sam in our early news bulletin at 5 o'clock with all your latest sport.
Mike, thank you very much indeed for the update. Plenty more still to come between now and 1 o'clock, including Salford MP Hazel Blaze getting her hands dirty on a demolition job, and the couples who've decided saying I do was so good the first time, they want to say it again.
Well, we've just had a renewal of marriage vows service. It was actually very moving to see a lot of people standing up, especially the older ones, and even some of the younger ones. It was very moving to see people wanting to recommit to one another.
Welcome back to Monday's Lunchtime News. Don't forget to visit our website, channelm.co.uk. All our main headlines are on there 24 hours a day. Right now you can see pictures of a huge turnout for the funeral of a Royal Marine who was killed while serving in Afghanistan, and also the eager fans queuing up for tickets to see Madonna here in Manchester in July. That's at channelm.co.uk. Next, Greater Manchester Police are starting a week-long campaign against domestic abuse. TV adverts will be shown in the run-up to Valentine's Day, highlighting the effects of violence on families. They'll also appear on the big screen in Piccadilly. Statistics show there were more than 68,000 cases here in Greater Manchester last year. That's the equivalent of 186 a day, or 7 per hour. This woman, whose face and voice has been disguised, was once a victim of domestic violence.
I spent years letting this man bully me and make me believe that everything I did was wrong and everything that went wrong was my fault. This was someone who I was supposed to trust and love, and he systematically bullied me and hurt me and never really said sorry. And it's like I let it carry on because I always believed that he'd stop, and he never was going to stop. And I suppose the most important thing is that for everyone who's sat there who might listen and think, oh my God, he doesn't hit me in the face, but it's just a push, it's just a shove, it's only going to get worse.
A man arrested over the murder of a 22-year-old in Chorley has been released on bail. Umair Wasim was found dead with serious head injuries in a car park off Moor Road last Monday morning. A 20-year-old man from South Manchester has been questioned by detectives. Coronation Street producers have told Bill Roach, who plays Ken Barlow, to take as much time off work as he needs after the death of his wife. He'd been married to Sarah Roach for more than 30 years. She died on Saturday at the age of 58 and hadn't been ill. In a statement, the actor says he's in a state of shock. Gordon Brown says the days of big bonuses for bankers who fail is being swept away. The Prime Minister says action will be taken to make sure any future payments are to reward long-term success. The government's been under pressure because of reports the RBS Group, which it holds a major stake in, could be about to pay out £1 billion in bonuses. The bulldozers have moved into an area of Salford as part of a big new regeneration plan. Communities Minister and MP for the area, Hazel Blaze, turned up to give the demolition work a kick-start herself around the old Nelson pub in the Chapel Street area.
Today we're doing demolition in preparation for when we'll be rebuilding this part of the city, and I think it's really exciting. Local people are beginning to see action taken on the ground to make this area green and beautiful and a really vibrant centre of Salford. It's about our history and our heritage, but it's also about the future. And I think what the old Nelson does is it unites that sense of Salford that we all know and we love and treasure, but also that vision for the future, that this is going to be an exciting city.
Next, a look into the future of what some of our high streets could be like in just a few months' time. This year we've already seen the closure of Woolworths, some Zavvi stores are shutting, and there are fears more big-name stores could soon be pulling down the shutters for the final time as well. Our reporter Nina Warhurst has been to find out what effect all these closures are having in a typical town.
Every day across the country, 120 small businesses are going bust. So how's that changing the face of the high street? What's in store as we head deeper into recession, and how might those changes affect our communities? Well, on this high street, like a lot in Greater Manchester, there are 5 or 6 takeaways and a pizza restaurant. How do you think their fortunes will compare?
I think at a time when there is such a recession and the larger restaurants aren't doing the business that they used to do, these places might do OK.
Well, just across the street from the takeaways, there's a small independent florist that's recently closed down. Is that quite typical of casualties at the moment?
Yes, it absolutely is typical of the type of shop that we've seen close on our high streets these days. I don't know who ran that particular shop, but I wouldn't mind guessing it's maybe a group of friends, maybe even a family-run business, and could have been around for some time.
No matter what the state of the economy, surely our pubs will always do OK.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? Sadly, we are seeing the closure of quite a number of pubs. And I do hear that at least one of the big pubs in Withington has now closed, and how sad that is. I'm not sure that they can do an awful lot. There's not a lot of spare money going to be about over the next few years, and people will see going out drinking and eating out as something of a luxury.
So Robinson's is a family butcher's. It's been here for decades. There used to be one on every high street. With the supermarket price wars on, what kind of future's in store for the likes of this butcher's?
Some figures suggest that by 2015, 80% of our family-run high street businesses will have gone, and have gone forever.
So the future of our high street is going to look like a very different place, isn't it?
It will do. It depends how much people can adapt, and it depends how much choice they want. But when this, and if this butcher's ever goes, you lose that choice forever.
What would you say to consumers who want to resist that kind of change happening to their high street?
A very hackneyed phrase: use it or lose it.
Now, there have been wedding celebrations galore at one church here in Greater Manchester. A single service has been held for a large group of couples to say "I do" for the second time, and for many of them it was an experience almost as moving as the first time around.
Well, we've just had a renewal of marriage vows service, which we used as an opportunity to invite people from Horton Green and beyond to just come and share their experience of marriage and to renew those vows, some of whom had made their vows over 50 years ago.
I spend most of my time encouraging other people to do it, and I've never had the chance to do it myself. So I appreciate that. It's nice to join with everybody else and set a good example.
It was actually very moving to see a lot of people standing up, especially the older ones, and even some of the younger ones. It was very moving to see people wanting to recommit to one another.
I think it was nice to sort of remember the vows and sort of bring them forward again, and it feels really good.
I've been here 23 years now, and I think I've probably married 50 or 60 couples probably in the course of that time.
Probably a lot more than that.
Well, there have been 1 or 2 snow showers around in places this morning. Checking the forecast for the rest of the day and the week ahead, here's Polly Winder.
We're expecting quite a mixed day across the region. As we can see there, maximum temperatures of around 3 and 4 degrees. Now, there is going to be some chance of sunshine, but more often than not, there's going to be a lot of sleet and even snow around across southern parts of Manchester, Cheshire and the Pennines. Maximum temperatures, as I said, highs of 3 and 4 degrees today. As we go into this evening, we will have some dry parts to the area, and we're looking at quite a lot of wind over hillier grounds. Minimum temperatures this evening are going to be around -1 degrees. Ahead to tomorrow, it's going to be pretty similar to today, but a little bit warmer. We're looking at highs of around 7 degrees, but again, there's going to be that chance of snow. We're looking at better weather later on in the week. Thursday and Friday is probably going to be the nicest days, highs of 3 degrees, so quite cool, but we're looking at a lot of sunshine there. Wednesday, we've got sun and cloud, bit of rain and highs of 6 degrees.
This is Channel M's Lunchtime News, and these are Monday's top stories. Police say a man they want to question over a woman's murder in Salford is dangerous and should not be approached. They put out a picture and CCTV footage of George Appleton after the badly burnt body of Claire Wood was found at a house in Blackfriars. A new campaign is starting to raise awareness of the problem of domestic abuse here in Greater Manchester. Figures show 68,000 cases were reported last year. And Slumdog Millionaire creator Danny Boyle is celebrating after his film won 7 BAFTAs last night, including Best Film, Best Director and Best Music. More on all those stories in our early evening news with Andy Crane from 5 tonight. But from me and the Lunchtime team, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye for now.